There's much more to our natural history collections than the objects you can see in the exhibition. Here in the store, we can see the full extent of Abel Chapman's legacy, rack after rack of stuffed and mounted heads, showcasing an extraordinary diversity of animals, including the African antelopes that you can see here. Heads like these are quite a familiar sight in museums. Perhaps you see them as quirky or a little strange. Perhaps they seem more like scientific specimens demonstrating how each species looks. But these are also objects with stories of their own. How were they collected? How were they made? And how did they come to be here? Abel Chapman was typical of white European hunter naturalists who sought out opportunities for hunting expeditions. He took detailed records and drew sketches in his notebooks. This gives us a window into the huge effort involved in tracking, stalking, and shooting each of these magnificent creatures. For example, this waterbuck collected in Transvaal, now the Republic of South Africa, in 1899. Abel Chapman and others had an imperialistic view of Africa and its wildlife, reserved for the exploration, conquest and sport of European men, where local communities were excluded and oppressed. His notebooks give insights into this wider story, the far-reaching influence of the British Empire in the late 19th and early 20th centuries, the steamships and new railways that allowed Chapman to travel throughout Africa, people from throughout the African continent who he hired to work on the expeditions, some of whom carried these heads overland for many miles. Their stories are rarely told in European museums, yet without them, none of these objects would exist. Behind the trophy head is therefore also a story of colonial powers brutally reshaping the lives and traditions of African communities. When we first see these heads, we see a grand display of fantastic beasts, but the complicated and often difficult history that has shaped museum collections is on display here too. We want to critique the narrow and skewed story that until now has often been the only story told, and learn and share more about the multitude of stories behind objects like this in our collection.